Oh my god! I spent so long! Oh my god! Why are there two things that are so identical? I am an absolute moron. And while I have Unity right here installing on my computer, I want to yap to you about how I got here. I bet you're all wondering how this happened. There is this YouTube channel I follow that I absolutely adore called Game Maker's Toolkit. They're basically a game journalism / video game analyst channel who breaks down game designs, and they have really fascinating and interesting videos. A couple of years ago, they went onto this long, a year-long journey of making their very own video game, basically applying everything that they have learned by analyzing video games for like over a decade and making all these video essays. They've even made some on Hollow Knight and Silksong, so that would be interesting to my audience. And they have this 40-minute long video titled The Unity Tutorial for Complete Beginners. This is a tutorial they made after finishing their own first game, and I've always wanted to follow along. I've seen this tutorial before. The premise is basically he's teaching you how to make Flappy Bird, but the point isn't to make Flappy Bird. The point is to learn the absolute basics of game dev, and I thought it would be fun to do with the Silksong coating of paint on it. It's something that I was just gonna do in my spare time, but I also realized YouTube is my job and I need to make money to pay rent, so I'm gonna film this whole experience for you guys and hopefully make it entertaining. Now, as Unity finishes installing, which by the way, wow, this is extremely slow. My background in game design and coding is fuck all. When I was in high school, my computer science teacher told me that, hey, coding and programming is super easy. She recommended me this one language called C++, I think it's called, and she told me to try that one out, and I did for a week, and I completely gave up because what the fuck was even going on?
What the hell is even that?
It was hard. It was really hard. I am not that smart. And Unity, it uses this language called C#, I think. So yeah, this is gonna be a great start. I think it's similar to C++. And the only thing I remember from C++ is that it made me want to kill my... But hopefully Mark's tutorial here is pretty good and helps me, you know, get along to making Flappy Skong, because that's my goal today. So I got the tutorial running here, my recording software running here, Unity running right here, and you guys here. Let's get into it. With all that being said, smash that subscribe button to support my channel and help me pay rent. I'll appreciate that a lot. And let's just jump into it. The first thing I'm learning right now is installing Unity takes 10 years. So make sure you have 10 years if you try this at home. Oh my god, I'm already failing. This thing keeps crashing. Why? Just install the goddamn documentation. This documentation thing keeps giving me an error. No! We haven't even started yet, Chief. Alright, starting again. Whatever. Microsoft Visual Studio Community 2022. I think I need that. I think that's what we're gonna be coding in. I've definitely read and agreed with the above terms and conditions. I swear. God, I've been sitting here looking at this thing install for like the past 5 minutes. Why is installing the editor the hardest part? Oh my god, the final boss of coding. Jesus. Aha! Installed. Nice. Now what we're doing? Ah, Visual Studio installer. That is what we need. Okay, cool. Sweet. Now it looks like the tutorial. Beautiful. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Okay, I think here we need something related to game development, right? Game development with Unity. That is what we need. Do I need these optional things? They're not there, and the tutorial's like 5 years old, so none of these options are for him. What the fuck is this? AI assisted development? I don't need no clankers in my game. Ew, Copilot. No. You know what? I'm unchecking all of these optional garbage. I don't need any of that AI shit here. Alright, install. Jesus, I don't know how long we're into this video right now, but we haven't even installed the software. Then again, I did start the video by telling you all about my mental capabilities, so this is on you, to be honest. Not on me at all. Hallelujah, baby! Finally! Okay, we're getting somewhere. Oh, what are all these windows? I don't need a fucking account. Piss off. Start Visual Studio. No, we'll do that later. Exit that for now. What are you? Visual Studio Community. Yeah, we did this. Good, it's installed. Thank you. And now what? Alright, now we can finally get started with making a project. Okay, new project. Whole balls. Okay, let's go to all. And let's stick to 2D. Yeah, 2D core. That sounds great right now. Primacon is my organization. That's correct. Okay, I made a new game dev folder in my C drive. Project name. I think we're gonna go with floppy Skong for now. Floppy Skong, best game of all time. Like, trust me, a lot of this UI is so different than whatever the fuck is on the tutorial right now. Like, look at this shit. What the fuck? You know what? That just makes it more fun. How about that? Alright, let's create that bitch. Oh, we're game deving now, gamers. What? Unity editor software, dude. I know all your terms, okay? I wrote your copyright stuff. Of course I know it. Unity engine. Oh yeah. Engine me up. Buttercup, sure. Oh, you know what I remember from the 1 week of C++ I did in high school? I think you write something like, C out, and then you write hello world, and then you get hello world. This is the 5th installation screen I'm on right now. God, please save me from installing loading bars. That's fine. I'm making this one game and then I'll uninstall all this crap from my computer, I'm pretty sure. Okay, here we go. Well, I guess rip my chess game. Okay, wow. That is overwhelming to say the least. Also, why is my mouse cursor running at 10 FPS? Oh, Lord. Apparently, this is being caused by NVIDIA G-Sync. It's a known error. I'm gonna go disable my G-Sync. Dude, how much troubleshooting do I have to do before I get to even making a game? Okay, I've disabled G-Sync on my computer. Okay, that seems to fix the choppiness, but now it's stuck at 60 FPS on my 240Hz screen, which is weird. So let's see if I can change that. Okay, so turns out it's my second monitor issue because my second monitor goes only up to 85 Hz and Unity locks your refresh rate on the application to that of the lowest monitor refresh rate for whatever the fuck reason. You know what? I'll live with 85 Hz. Whatever, man. Moving on. What am I looking at right now? Okay. Alright, so this is my hierarchy. This is where I get all my stuff, like my assets and stuff go here. This is like the inspector. This is where I add code and add like things that happen to these components, and then this is where the game appears. This is where the magic happens. Cool shit. Okay, so Mark has made some sprites for his game, right? So he made the bird, he made the wing in the up position, wing in the down position, and stuff, and he made a pipe. I'm gonna make my own assets. I'm not gonna download his. I'm gonna make some Skong assets in Photoshop because I am the greatest artist that ever lived. I swear. God, opening Photoshop with this on is gonna nuke my computer, but here we go. You know what? I give up. It's time to plagiarize. Thankfully, Hornet already exists in a way where she has wings because she has ass wings. Oh God, what is that? Oh, do we want naked Hornet? No, my video is gonna get demonetized. Ah, look what I found, Chief. Look at that. Hornet, yes please. Oh, beautiful. That's what I need. Alright, it's the next day and I've learned that Unity is a very heavy software on your machine. Like, this thing takes 10 years to load. Okay, after I have plagiarized successfully some files, we're back in business. Okay, now we're gonna make Hornet. We're finally actually gonna make something. So how you do it is you create empty. Hornet is hollow right now. I'm gonna call her Hornet. Please do not send cease and desist to me and copyright strike my whole life. Okay, we got Hornet now. But now we gotta add a component to Hornet, I believe. Okay, so I think we need sprite renderer now, and then we need Hornet sprite. So how do I actually get it here? Maybe I can just drag and drop. Oh yeah, that works. Okay. So now, right? Where's Hornet? So there's Hornet. I can drag and drop you from here to here. Where is she? She's supposed to pop up. What the fuck? Why is Hornet not Hornet? What's going on? Ah, there we go. I fixed it. Apparently this thing had a couple of layers in it for some fucking reason. Like shadow layers, even though it's just a simple PNG. I don't know how that works, but there we go, dude. We got Hornet on screen. And then if you go to game view, holy shit. That looks terrible in 1080p. She's huge. So I can like fuck with the camera here, I think. The camera size? Yeah. So for the camera size, I can make it smaller or bigger. Okay. So for our game, considering this is like a 1080p window, this looks about right? Yeah. Maybe a little smaller. There we go. There she is. With her ass wings. Wait, he changed the background color. How the fuck did he do that? Ah, there we go. Background color. Okay, let's go with something for Hornet. Yeah! A horny red. That's what she likes. There we go. Okay, maybe not too hard on the eyes. Oh my god, yeah. Hi guys, welcome to my game, which blinds you. Okay, this is good. It's kind of pinkish, you know, blends with her a little bit better. Alright, I wish I could change her saturation. I want her to be more red. Maybe I can do that? Let me Google how to do that. Custom shaders. You know what? I'm okay for now. Okay, moving on. Okay, now instead of just having an image, we gotta make Hornet into like an actual physical object. And for that, we need this thing called rigid body. I'm guessing rigid body 2D because my girl is 2D right now. So let's go with rigid body 2D. Why not? Ah, I can hit play here to play my game. Oh my god, it does a thing. It's like rendering my game into existence. Reloading domain. CC's playing Marvel Rivals right now. Okay, see, we snitch on CC.
Bye, have a great time.
Cool. Hey, let's go, dude. We made game. Where'd she go? Oh my god, that's so funny. Okay, we got a game working here, chat. Now we just gotta make it playable, okay? Easy, easy. I don't know why Silksong took 7 years for Team Cherry. This shit, I got it. Okay, so apparently now, yeah, it is a physics body that is affected by gravity, but it'll still just phase through everything. And to fix that, you need this thing called a collider. I thought just it being a physics object would make it into a collider. We have certain kinds of collider here. Polygon, custom collider. I think a custom one would be best for her, no? She's kind of like a triangle shape. Is there a triangle collider? I mean, I guess there's a polygon one. You know, I guess we'll just go with circle. Circle seems to be the simplest. Ah, there we go. Now I can see it. Okay, I gotta scale this bitch down. Can I? How do I scale it down? Shit, where did all my things go? Ah, there we go. Radius. Okay, so we gotta make it smaller. Can I move you? I can't move things from here. It feels like I should be able to. I can move entirety of Hornet, but I want to move the collider, man. God damn it. Oh, offset moves it. Ah, okay. So if I focus on Hornet and then make it like a little smaller, I'll make it a little smaller than Hornet's body. So there's like a little bit of leeway before she collides into the pipes. That looks about right. The wings are immaterial. Don't worry about the wings. Okay, cool. Okay, now we need to add more components to Hornet. But now the thing that we're adding is this thing called a script, which basically, from what I'm gathering, is it just lets you define a component yourself by coding. This is where coding comes into play. So we'll go new script. Name, I guess I'll just call it Hornet. No, that's, wow, okay, I can type. Hornet script. There we go. Hornet script, create and add. What? Oh, it's asking me where to save it. I don't know. That didn't show up in the tutorial. I'm just gonna click save wherever. I don't know. Okay, cool. We got script going on, baby. Now we can double click it, I think. Nope, not there. Jesus. Wait, what? Hold on. Wait, what did I do? What did I do? Oh, calm down, game. Oh, there we go. There we go. Visual Studio. Oh, I don't want an account. Get away from me. Just start the goddamn thing. Okay. Dude, I feel like my laptop's gonna explode while I try to do all of these. Yeah, sure. Allow it to fuck my ass. Okay. Visual Studio has been updated. That's great, man. I don't need to know what's new. I don't even know what's old. There we go. There's coding. Oh, what the fuck am I looking at? Start is called once before the first execution of update after the mono behavior. Can I make you like bigger? There are so many little buttons everywhere, dude. This is so overwhelming. Ah, there we go. Scale that bitch up. Ah, I can finally see. Thank God. So we're programming in C#, and basically what these are, from what I'm gathering, is whatever code I type here plays only when I hit play, like at the very start of the game, and then whatever code I write here, it executes every frame, I believe. So that's the difference between these two. Oh, I can't fuck with Hornet's colors here, but I don't know how I'll just increase saturation. I feel like I should have just done that in Photoshop. God damn it. Also, I'm gonna fuck with UI scaling a little bit. I don't want to use desktop default. Everything is really small because I have really bad vision. 175 changes. This setting requires a restart. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Fine. Oh, that's genuinely so much better. That's so much better for me. Holy fuck. Alright, let's go back to fucking with the script. Let's test out this coding stuff. Let's write something. So apparently you write this word called game object. Also, this language, I think, from what I gather, is case sensitive. So you write game object that basically calls back to any object in your games, like Hornet is an object. So we can write dot, and then we have a bunch of options that we can fuck with, basically. Same thing that we saw on the inspector. Like, for example, the name. Yes, game object name. And then we can equal that name to something, right? Why is there a squiggly line? Let's name her John Silksong. So if I do that, right, and then I end with a semicolon, that's what I remember from learning C++, is you end your code with a semicolon. See? I remember coding. Now what? Do I like save this? So now if we go back to Unity, it's assembling shite. Okay, and we go to our game. Right now she's called Hornet, but because we wrote that code in our start thing, so as soon as I start the game, it should change the name from Hornet to John Silksong. Let's see if I'm a programming god. Come on, game. Come on. Keep an eye out on here. Oh! And he scores, baby! Oh my god, programming god! Let's go, dude! Oh, and then it resets back to Hornet? Ah, that's so funny. Alright, get out of here. That was just for testing. So from what I gather, here's what's going on. Like we just showed with the example, we can control things by coding, like the name and the transform stuff, using our script. But that's the only thing that the script can control. What we want to control with the script is in like the rigid body stuff, but the script doesn't even know this rigid body component exists. Basically, we want to add velocity and stuff, like a speed at which Hornet's gonna go up. But we need to make sure the script can, you know, understand that this thing exists. So for that, we need like a reference. I still don't really understand why I'm writing these codes here and why nowhere else. Again, I don't know C#, but apparently this is where I have to make a reference for it. So we can make like a public reference. Public reference just basically means you can access it from anywhere in your code, I believe. And we're making a reference to rigid body 2D, right? And then we can name that rigid body something. So I'm gonna call it, before I call it something, I should mention that apparently the first letter of your namings should be small. I don't know why, but it needs to be lowercase. So I'm just gonna call it body is rigid, very rigid, very strong, and then obviously we end with a semicolon, right? Is that good? Did I do a good? So if we save and go back to our script, now our script has body is rigid. There we go. This thing controls the rigid body 2D features right here. Okay, I think I am getting it. Oh no, it needs a rigid body 2D component. So that's this right here. So I can drag it into this and boom, bingo, bango. Now that's in there. So I can control the velocity of this shit right there from the script right here. So now if we go back to our script and go to update, which is basically code that runs while the game is playing. Now we can go type, yep, body is rigid. How do I do I just press enter on these to quick type them? Yes, body is rigid, and then I can say dot. Yeah, and then I can control, look, a lot of shit here. Holy shit. I can touch Hornet. I can go to sleep with her. That's great. What we want to do is velocity, not angular velocity, just regular velocity. Wait, why is there no velocity? But the tutorial said velocity, and I don't have velocity. I have linear velocity. I mean, I guess we'll go with linear velocity because it is linear, not angular or anything like that. So, sure, linear velocity, even though that's not what they use. And then I can give that velocity like a vector. Vector is basically direction, and vector 2 dot up. Yeah, that's what we want to give, and we want to give it some power. So vector 2 dot up is basically like, it's just telling you that the velocity is up. And then the power is, I think, telling it how strong. So like 10 for reference, I guess. And then we end the code, right? Is that code correct? Okay, let's see. Let's save our bad boy. Go back. It'll compile the new magic I just coded. And let's hit play on the game. Let's see what happens. There we go. And she goes up. Wow. What a game. Do you guys think this is Game of the Year worthy yet? No? Fine, we'll get there. I think that's a little bit slow though. Like, that's really floaty. Maybe I need to make it like a little larger for it to feel more like it does in Silksong when you hit double jump, right? Like, what do you feel like?
Now, this is epic.
Okay. Yeah, that might be a little too fast. I don't know. Okay, we'll fuck with it in a little bit. Yeah, we'll circle back to that, as they say in the big corpo. Okay, now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of this thing with if statements. Apparently, if statements are the bread and butter of coding. That basically dictates how everything in this world works. So when I say if, I'm talking directly to Unity itself. So if, and then I can establish a condition. This is basically mean that what I'm trying to do is I only want the velocity vector up thing to activate when I hit spacebar on my computer, right? So if input, so an input is detected of, so we say get key down to, like, you know, get the key that is being pressed down, I guess. That key being spacebar, right? That's how you write that, apparently. I'm just learning syntax right now. Equal true. Okay, so what I've basically written here is if there's an input, and the input being, like, it's getting the input to be the code, like the code of the input is spacebar. So basically, if the input is spacebar equal true, equal basically means that it's just checking if that condition is true. So if I say, like, x is equal to 2, that just means put the value of 2 in x. But if I'm writing x is equal to 2, that means I'm just asking the program to check if the x is, like, x's value is 2 or not. So here we are just asking Unity to check if I have pressed spacebar or not. If I have pressed spacebar, then it should execute this thing, basically. But, like, whatever the condition in the if statement is, it needs to go in these curly brackets. So I can just, I don't know, cut it out of here, paste it in here, right? That should be it. Okay, let's save. I really want to see what this does. Ooh, this is a big bit of code that we've just written. Okay, compile my magic, Unity. Let's see what happens. So if I press play, nothing should happen right now. Come on. Nothing should happen. You bastard! No! Why didn't it work? No, it's not detecting my spacebar. What? Why? It works in the tutorial! This is bullshit. So it turns out I have to change this setting. Unity has a new input system now, and what I'm using is the old input system. So it's set to new, and I have to set it to both, so it detects both old and new. The Unity editor must be restarted to... Of course it does. Of course it does. Fine, whatever. Do you want to save the changes to make sure the scenes... Yes, please save all my changes. Thank you. Okay, cool. Apparently that's what they updated in Hollow Knight recently, where they added the support for the new Unity input system. I covered that in a video recently, so that's cool, but we're gonna stick with the old right now because we're just learning. This input manager is a legacy feature and not recommended for new... fuck off, don't tell me what to do, game. Yeah, use your new input Unity system instead. Go to hell. You're not my dad. Alright, let's hit play now. Now our spacebar should work, right? Horny Falls. Boom, baby. Oh my god. I have created working code in a video game. Okay, she is very floaty. We definitely need to fuck with some parameters to make her feel better. But the point is, this works. God damn. That's so cool. I know it just seems silly to all you programmers out there, but I've never coded in my life, like, properly, so to me this is like fucking discovering fire right now. So apparently now I can either be an ape with a machine gun and just keep changing this number of the velocity of how strong it is when you press spacebar until it feels right, and like just keep adding a new number, saving, running the game, change the number again, save, run the game again. Or I can be smart and use what the programmers call, apparently, variables. So just how we made a public rigid body thing here, we're apparently gonna make something else too. Again, I'm not really sure the logic behind these things, but we're gonna make a public float. A float is basically... So, there's types of variables that you can have, like, you know, text, numbers. A float is just a type of a number variable that can have decimal points. An int would be something that can't have decimal points. So we're gonna make a float, make it public, and it's gonna be a variable, and I'm gonna just call it, like, flap strength, for example, right? And then I can fuck with the variable instead of going back to my script again and again and changing and then saving and then running the code. So instead of this multiplying by a flat number 10, it's gonna multiply to flap strength, whatever I put the flap strength in. And because I made it right here, I think, if I save it, it should just show up in the inspector of Unity. Let me see. If I go back to the scene right now, let it compile the script right now. Okay. If we go back to the scene, we go to Hornet. There we go. We made a flap strength thing right here. in our script. So I can just change it from right here. That is perfect. So I had it originally at 10. Let's try like my original number. What if I just go 100, right? And then I hit game and I hit play. So will it be different now? Let's see. Oh! Yep, that's different. She's gone, brothers. She's never coming back down. Holy fuck. Okay, but that's good though. That lets me control it super easily. Oh wait, that is super cool. Okay, so apparently what I can do is I can say I have a flap strength of like I don't know, let's go back to 10, right? And if I hit play while I have this set to 10, I can do something super cool. Okay, so pay attention. This is a 10 and I hit play and it's gonna start playing with it being 10, right? But now that it's active and it's like playing, I can just change it while I'm like playing the game. Wait, let me go down. Right. So while I'm playing the game, I can like change it to 20 and then it'll change. But when I stop, it's just gonna go back to 10. So I can basically mess around with values here until I find the right one. There we go. 15 feels a little nice. Like boom, if we had stronger gravity, I think 15 would be pretty solid. So let's stick with 15 now. So if I stop, it's gonna go back to 10 and then I can change it to 15. That's perfect. That is beautiful. I love Hornet. Where can I fuck with the gravity? I really want to fuck with the gravity. On rigid body, blah, 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 blah. Gravity scale. There we go. So what if we have gravity scale to 2, right? Let me fuck around with this till I find something that feels good. And I've learned that I can pause and fuck with the numbers. I've been fucking with these numbers for like 10 minutes. I don't know why I'm so serious about this, but I really want to get it right. I think this feels good to me. I just wish there was a way to make the gravity effect on her faster. Like she stays up in the air too long before she starts falling down. Like the falling down speed is perfectly fine. I just wish it acted faster. Maybe I can figure that out. Maybe if I change her mass. Maybe if I make her more chunky. Oh, is there a way to save all these changes when I stop the thing? Let me Google that. That's fine, whatever. Alright, I think now we gotta move on from number fucking because we can't fuck with the numbers until we actually have the pipe spawn in because I can't get a feel for the gameplay otherwise. So now it's time to make a new object, right? We're gonna call it pipe. There we go. Huge. And apparently now we need to give the pipe a child. So we can make an object within an object. Like nest it basically. Like this. And we're gonna call this one top pipe. Hell yeah, brother. Okay, now we're gonna do some similar things that we did for the bird. We need... No, that's not how you fucking spell it. We need a sprite renderer again. Boom. And then we're gonna add the PNG of the pipe to it. There we go. We got a pipe. Fucking huge. Now, this time we don't need a rigid body because the pipe doesn't need to be affected by physics. It only needs collisions. So we're just gonna add... this time we're gonna add a box collider because it's in the shape of a box. So... there we go, we added the box collider. That looks pretty nice actually by default. Wow. Great. I guess I'll offset it a little bit. We can reduce the size a little bit. There we go, just so it doesn't feel super punishing to collide with these things. Like that. We can now move... oh, this is my whole level. Ah, I see. So now I can move this up above Hornet like this. And then we can duplicate it. We're gonna call this one bottom pipe. Beautiful. And then we can change the Y scale to -1 to flip it upside down. That's kind of like same as Adobe Premiere, so I am used to that kind of stuff. And then we can move this one down below Hornet. Is there a way to like keep it aligned or something while I drag and drop? Or if I hold control it makes like a grid snapping thing. Okay, perfect. There we go. We have a top pipe and a bottom pipe, baby. Now the magic that we're trying to make happen is instead of making Hornet move across the screen, we're making Hornet just stationary in the middle and having the pipes move across instead. So let's do that now. Let's add to the parent pipe, which by the way, if you select the parent, it'll move everything in it. Let's add another script to it to make it move. New script. What do we call it? I guess I'll just call it pipe move. There we go. Cool. Create and add. Yep, just save it right there. Beautiful. So now this is Hornet script. I don't need that one right now. I need the pipe script. This is the pipe script. I can switch between both my scripts and all my scripts up top. Cool, cool, cool. So just how we made a variable to fuck with Hornet's gravity and movement, we're gonna do the same. We're gonna make another public variable. This time it's also gonna be a float, and this time I'm gonna call it pipe move speed to just control how fast it's going, right? I spelled pipe wrong. Beautiful. And apparently I can just set a value for it right here and then just change it later in the inspector, or I can just not set a value. It doesn't really matter. This is more like a starting value. I guess what I don't understand right now about coding is why am I making these under class? Like, what is public class mean? Like, I don't really understand. I guess the syntax a little bit up top here. I know using is basically like all the functions it's using, like velocity and stuff like that. I just don't know what class is, I guess. Now, this is a little bit complicated for me to wrap my head around, so I'll try to explain it as I type it to myself, basically explaining it to myself. So what I'm doing is I'm transforming the move speed of the pipes, right? I'm transforming the positions of the pipes. So I write transform position, yep, and the position I'm transforming is basically I have the initial position of the pipe, which is again transform dot position. This is the starting position of the pipe, and then I am then I'm adding to it a vector, this time vector 3 and left, because I want the pipes to move left on the screen with a speed of, like, I could dictate it right now, like whatever speed, but again, I want to be able to change it in the inspector, so I'm going to use my variable that I made, pipe move speed, and then obviously ending my code line with a semicolon. Okay, let's see if I understand this. So I have a transform position, which basically takes the initial position and adds some vector to it, like vector going left to it, with some speed. Cool! So if I save it, I should have a bunch of new things pop up in the inspector. Let's check it out. Yeah, we got pipe move speed 10. Okay, so what happens if I play my game now? Do my two pipes just like slide across the screen? Let's see. Play. Yeah, they do. Okay, cool. So they're just going extremely fast. Yep. Cool. It works though, because now I can just control their speed from here. So if I enter 2 here now and hit play, that should be a lot more. That is still extremely fast. What the fuck? What if I go like 0.01? Like, will that help? Ah, there we go. Yeah. Yippee, baby. Best game of all time. Fuck. Okay, so the problem here is my FPS. My FPS right now in the game is about 200 whatever. It's fluctuating right now. And as we established, like the scripts that we write in update, void update, they update every single frame. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that needs to depend on something else, because FPS fluctuates and people have different systems, and if your FPS is just uncapped, this shit will run like at like 1000 FPS, and maybe that's why the pipes are going super fast. Not the actual pipe move speed, that's the problem here. So apparently we can fix it by multiplying it to another value called delta. Is it called delta time? It is. It's called time.delta time. So for some reason this fixes the thing. I'm not really sure why. I think it's taking into account like your actual ticking of the clock instead of just your frame rate, which stabilizes the whole thing. Someone smarter than me, please explain to me why that works, but apparently it's supposed to. So now if I go back here with, let's say, a move speed of 5 and I play the game, that 5 should look a lot better. Yep. Much better. Okay, now I can actually have a working move speed. Let's say of 20. 20 should be good, right? Yeah, kinda. I mean, we'll fuck with the numbers later, but it works in concept. Thank you, time.delta time. Very cool. So just like we fucked around with this thing called the if statement, which is one of the most bread and butter things of programming, we're gonna do something similar now. Basically, what we're gonna do is everything we did with the pipe, right? We are gonna drag and drop the whole pipe into our assets to basically create a blueprint for all this mumbo jumbo, and then we can use that blueprint to create multiple copies of this pipe system, and that is called a prefab, which apparently is also bread and butter of game dev. I think I should fuck with the move speed first then, if I'm gonna make a blueprint of it. Yeah, 15 is very good. I actually really like 15. Okay, so let's stick with 15, and now we can drag and drop this here. Boom! That created a prefab. Cool. And apparently now we don't need this anymore. So we just constructed this to make a prefab out of it. and now we can just fucking delete it. Voila, that's beautiful. I'm gonna save everything because I don't trust myself, but that's cool. Now we have a blueprint of the pipe. Kind of scary though, because now if I want to change it, oh, I guess I can still change the move speed of it. Huh. What's the point of making a prefab then instead of just using the actual object? Let me know in the comments. Again, educate me. Anyway, now we can use the prefab to make a pipe spawning factory. So for that, let's make a new game object. We call it pipe spawner. Cool. This one we're gonna put like outside the game world, like right here. They're gonna start spawning here and then go across our game window, and then we want them to just disappear here so that they don't, you know, pile up in our memory and fuck up our whole computer. Let's not make that happen. Let's make a new script for it as well. Let's call it I don't know, pipe spawn. Boom. So basically, because the pipe itself already has the code to move left, we don't have to worry about that anymore. All we need to worry about is spawning the pipe in. That's it. And then obviously deleting the pipe. The pipe will do its thing on its own because we already coded that into the prefab. Interesting. So let's go to our good old friend pipe spawner now. We're gonna make an object again. So another public object. We're gonna make public game object, and we're gonna call it a pipe. Boom. So we made a pipe game object. So now this is gonna appear in the inspector, which it did right here. It created a pipe object in our pipe spawn script. Now we're gonna chuck our prefab in there, which is great. This time, instead of a component, it's a prefab. Okay, so I've just had a coffee break because this next segment apparently is a complete bitch. I barely understand it looking at the tutorial, and this is gonna test my patience, but hey man, that's what this project is about. So to spawn in objects, Unity has a command. It's called instantiate? Instantiate, yes. Clones the object original and returns the clone. I am guessing this is the right one. So we're gonna instantiate some bitches. Our bitches being the pipe object that we made. So we want to instantiate this pipe. Basically means spawn in this pipe. Now we need a position for it, and oh, I bumped my mic. For that we can use transform dot position. Remember we used this earlier. We can just use this to get the position of the pipe. So basically what that'll do is it'll make it spawn on top of the spawner that we placed right outside the screen thing, I'm hoping. And according to the tutorial, I need to specify rotation as well, even though nothing is fucking rotating, but I guess it is what it is. So we'll just do the same thing with transform.rotation. Hopefully now it stops screaming at me. Alright, put that semicolon, save that bitch. That should be good, right? Let's see how that spawns. Wow, it's really compiling this. Fuck, did I mess up? That took a long time to compile. I'm kind of scared to play, but let's see what happens. How do you spawn my pipes? Oh, brother! No! I have made Geometry Dash! Baby, oh my god, the amount of objects it's spawning! Dude, that's gonna crash my graphics card! Okay, so apparently to fix this, we basically, because it's spawning the pipes every delta frame or every frame or whatever, so that's why they look like joined together, because it's just continuously spawning the pipes as fast as it can. We need to give it a timer. So what we need to do is, first of all, we need to make another thing right here. Make it a float. I don't know why, even though I think int would work, but I don't know. We'll call it a spawn rate, and we'll give it a spawn rate of 2, basically like 2 seconds, like 1, 2. Yeah, that would be good enough for it to like spawn in. And now we'll make another variable for a timer that starts with 0. So basically what I'm trying to code is have a timer start at 0, have it tick to 2, spawn a pipe, and then go back to 0. This one I'm making private because the tutorial says that if you make something private, then it can't be accessed from anywhere else, and apparently you only need this for this script, so it's okay to have it private. I don't know why you wouldn't just make everything public so you can just access whatever wherever, but I'm sure there's a good reason for that. Anyway, let's try coding that shit with some more if statements. So if the timer is less than the spawn rate, let's say the timer is 0 second or 1 second, it has to be less than the spawn rate, then we just want the timer to count up. As soon as it hits the spawn rate, we want it to spawn and then reset the timer. So if the timer is less than the spawn rate, then what you do is make the timer go timer. Oh, not toothpaste. What the fuck did I type? Time.delta time. Apparently what that does is make the timer count up by a second. That's where delta time comes into play. Delta time, my beloved. Basically, it makes it independent of your frame rate, which is good. And now we get to use an else statement. It's basically what it sounds like in English. An if else. That's like the bread and butter of coding, right? So if this happens, you do that, else you do that. So if the timer is less than the spawn rate, you count the time up. The spawn rate is 2. Else you execute the function that we made for transforming, for spawning in the pipes. So you do that, and then you make sure that the timer is set to 0 again, right? So it'll execute the command to spawn in a pipe, and then reset the timer to 0. Then the timer will count again to the spawn rate, spawn a pipe, reset to 0. Spawn rate, spawn a pipe, reset to 0. That is in theory. Let's see if it works in practice. Alright, moment of truth. Please don't fuck up. Pipes? Hello? Oh my god! Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, dude. We actually have the basic architecture of floppy skong. I mean, I can still collide and it'll fuck me up. Nothing will happen. I guess we'll program that next, but it's spawning pipes like normal. That's pretty good. Now we also gotta figure out how to delete the said pipes, because right now the pipes are just spawning, but they're not being deleted, which is really bad because they're just gonna keep going into the memory, right? So from what I'm gathering from the tutorial, it's usually a bad practice to make your function in an if-else statement. What you should do is make your function outside it and then use the actual function name inside the thing. In layman's term, we have void start, we have void update. We can make a brand new one outside this, and we'll call it just like void spawn pipe, again keeping with the tradition of keeping the first letter lowercase. Void spawn pipe, you put this in front of it because that's just the syntax, and then you can start. So I can make curly brackets and I can put my function in these curly brackets instead, right? Delete it from here. I could have just cut it. I don't know why I didn't cut it. So instead of like, now I have the function declared outside it. So here I can just be like, oh, if the timer is less than spawn rate, up the timer, else just execute the function spawn pipe. Boom. Now also when I hit play on this thing, it takes like 10 years for the first pipe to appear, which is really bad. And turns out what we can do to fix it, because now we have this defined outside, we can just use this function as many times as we want, wherever we want. We can just execute this function here, right now. Spawn pipe in the start. Remember we learned earlier that whatever you write in the start just works for the very first time. So we can have it like run this function as soon as we hit play, and then the rest will follow after that. In theory anyway. So now we hit start and there we go. The pipes are spawning pretty much immediately. Beautiful! Now we have this pipe spawner right here outside the screen, and right now all the pipes just spawn on the spawner and then move to the left because we use the script function. We use the wording transform.position, which is the position of this. So we want the x-axis to stay the same, basically the distance like in the horizontal plane. We just want them to spawn at a random rate up and down. So how we're gonna implement it, apparently from my understanding of this tutorial, is we are gonna give them a range. We're gonna give the program a range, a top range and a bottom range, that it can spawn the pipes anywhere from here to here, right? The horizontal stays the same. First, we need to define the length of that range. For that, we need to create another variable here. I'm gonna make another one, public float. We're gonna call it height offset. That's basically the offset, the length that we're giving it, and we're gonna make it 10 for starters. I don't know. Okay, so this is just the start point of it. We're just defining like an offset of 10 from the original value. Now we can define like the highest point by original value plus the offset, and then the lowest point by original value minus the offset. So it'll give us a full range of like an offset of like 10 plus 10, 20 basically. So we'll define a lowest point, and the lowest point, the lowest point will be our transform. I'm pretty used to this one now. Transform.position dot y, because we want the x to stay the same, minus, we'll subtract the height offset from it. And then we can have a same for the highest point, which we'll call highest point, very original. And this time we'll go plus height offset. So now we have defined a range. So now in the actual spawner function, we can replace the position where it's spawning from the original one to a new one. And apparently when you're defining a new position, you have to write new vector 3, and now we give it x, y, and z. The reason we have z, by the way, I didn't mention it in the video yet, is because yeah, it's a 2D game, but Unity treats everything as a 3D world anyway. So z will just be 0, but it has to be specified. So for the x, we want it to be the same. So for the x, we'll just go transform dot position dot x, same as the spawner. For the y one now, we'll give it a range. So apparently there's a range function here. It's called random. So we'll do random dot, and we'll give it a range. Range or random range? What's the difference? I'm not sure. Returns a random float within the minimum and maximum. Range is inclusive. And what's this? I don't know what that is. I think this is the one I need. And the range we're gonna give it obviously is the lowest point and the highest point. Right? That makes sense in my head. The code needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay, what's going on? This is a pretty fucking fat ass code. So transform.position.x, that's for x. This is for y. And then for the z, we just give 0 because z doesn't need to change. Okay, I think I understand what I just did here. I'm not just blindly following a tutorial. So let's save this now and see if that helps. I don't even know if the offset I picked off 10 is a good offset to pick or not. We'll have to, again, fuck with the numbers a little bit, but as long as it works in theory, let's see. Play. Come on, please. Just work in theory and then I'll fuck with your numbers. First one is in the middle. Yep, there we go. There we go. It works in theory. It kind of works in theory. Very nice. I want to fuck with it a little bit later on. I think the space between the pipes is very generous. It makes the game a little bit too easy. I might want to zoom out the camera a little bit, make the space shorter because this game is barely a challenge right now, but it works in principle, which is what we like, baby. Now we need to like figure out, like I said before, how to delete these spawning pipes. As you saw on the left, they just keep on spawning. Okay, let's go back in our scene right now and go to pipe spawner. So it's spawning here. I want it to delete somewhere here. Let me check the coordinates for that. So apparently I can just temporarily move Hornet here to just check the X coordinate. Looks to be about, I don't know, negative 55, I think is a good X value here to do that. Okay. Now if we go back into the script of the pipe move script, here we have the move one. This is the move speed that we declared. Let's declare a dead zone here as well. So another float, I'll just call it dead zone, and we settled on 55, I believe. And to implement it, it's pretty simple. Another just if statement. If transform dot position dot x, because we're only checking the x coordinate, if that thing is less than, right? Because it's going more towards negative. So if that thing is less than the dead zone, then we can use a command called destroy, and we can just destroy the, I think it's destroy dot game object. No, that's the wrong syntax. It's destroy, and we have to specify in the brackets what we're destroying. All right, so we basically picked a coordinate, and then we're just telling the program that if the x position goes below this coordinate, just destroy that game object. Like, I understand what I'm doing as I'm following along, but I imagine that if I was making this myself without the help of any tutorial, I would be very confused about one thing, which would be, where do I declare these things? Like, why am I declaring this here instead of like in the spawner or something? I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm sure if I sit and think about it for a second, it'll make sense to me, but it is what it is. So let's see it here now. If we play it in the scene view, nope. If you go back into the scene view, there we go. So the objects, they're spawning in right at the spawner at a random rate, and then they're being destroyed here. Perfect. Now the things aren't like piling up here like garbage. That's huge. Okay, now we're moving on to some UI. The game technically works in theory. Next thing it needs is most important and only component, a fucking score. So we can make that as a game object as well. Game objects apparently don't have to be physical objects in the game like your characters and enemies. They can also be UI elements. So if you can see here, there's UI stuff. Whoa, we have UI canvas and UI toolkit. I'm guessing we just go canvas for now because these are all the things I need, and I think I just need text just to display a high score, right? Whoa, what the fuck? TMP? Isn't that a gun? What's going on? This appears to be your first time you access Text Mesh Pro. As such, we need to add resources to your project that are essential for using Text Mesh Pro. Okay, sure, yeah, do it. Oh, good God! Oh, what have you done? Pipe move. No, I don't want to open that. Oh, God! Okay. Sure, import the extras as well. Do I need them? Turns out, Unity has been updated quite a lot. What I'm looking for is not Text Mesh Pro, but a legacy feature of plain old text. Just simple text. None of that fancy bullshit. There we go. I can rename that bitch to high score, right? Now, as you can see, this thing is huge, the new text thing here. So we gotta make sure that this doesn't look different on every screen. As you can see, this thing is huge. And a simple way to make sure that it doesn't appear different is to make the UI scale mode a scale with your screen size. That way it looks consistent across all kind of monitors. The reference, I'll just go 1080p because that's the canvas I'm using for my game right now. Okay, so now we can fuck with this a little bit here. I can change some stuff about it. So like the width, I can make it a lot shorter. Boom. I can reduce the... Whoa, calm down. I can reduce the height of it. Let's zoom in a little bit. I can change the position of it, so I want it to appear top right. Okay, how do I write in it? Text, new. Okay, so let's write 0 here just for reference. And then we can font size. Right, we can up the font size. Well, why can't I see it? Maybe because of the color? So if I make the color white... And yeah, there we go. Increase the... Oh, boom. Why the hell does it look like that? Let me go in game mode. Let me see what it looks like. Maybe it's just looking weird there. Oh wow, it's not even spawning in the game for some reason. Oh jeez. Okay, I think if I make this bigger, cause it's looking just pixelated. So like, but why is it pixelated? Can't have it be like huge. Maybe if I do make it huge and then I shrink the whole thing down somehow? But how would I do that? Because in tutorial it just works for him. Which is the dream of this whole thing. In tutorial it just works for him, but I have to fucking bash my head against it. It's big for him too, but because he has set it to scale with UI, it just scales down. So, like, as long as I look, if I take this, right, and I just move it here somewhere, if I go to game view now, oh, it's down there, eh? Weird. But it should be on the top, because I have it set as a top. Huh. Oh, okay. That is so weird. Why does it appear there? Okay, I see what's happening. Now I can place you up there on my screen, apparently. And now you should... There we go. That is so weird. Okay. Makes sense, yeah, sure. That font fucking sucks, but whatever. Sure, it looks cute there. Why not? Figured it out. Okay, now we need to code this thing to actually capture a high score. For that, we're gonna have to make another game object. Who's surprised? This one's gonna be called Logic Manager. Okay, this is where all the logic happens. And let's give it a new script. We'll call it, I don't know, Logic Script. Why not? Create and add. Yep, save that shit where all my other scripts are. Beautiful. Okay, so let's start coding the actual logic part of it. For this one, apparently, we don't need any of this. We don't need void start. We don't need void update. We just need to store some logic. So we're gonna start making new variables again. This time we're gonna make an int. Int basically also stores number like float, but int can only store whole numbers apparently, like -1, 0, 1, 2, right? So we don't need decimals here. So we don't need a float. So we can have public int. We can call it player score, and then this variable will keep track of the score. Now, just like we did before, if you guys remembered, we have to make a reference to it, like we made a reference to the rigid body earlier. So we're gonna make a reference to text, right? Unity engine.ui text. Yes. So it needs to use the Unity engine.ui, but it automatically adds that. That's cool. That's convenient. Using, I'm guessing, is basically like all these functions. They are stored in like these little folders, you could imagine. So this one is part of the UI one. Okay. We can call it score text. No. I can't do space, right? So score text. I gotta keep the first thing lowercase. I'm stupid. Boom, colon. semi. Now that should add it in the inspector, right? Hello? Oh, there we go. Edit. Boom, boom. There we go. We got player score and we got score text. So score text I can drag and drop like the high score right here. There we go. So from what I'm understanding is now we have two components to this. We have the actual player score that the game keeps track of, and then we have the display screen to display that score. So now we're gonna have to code some functions to make that magic happen. So going back here, let's make a function. We'll make it public and we'll call it void, right? That's how you do it? Yes. Add score. It's gonna add the score every time we pass the thing. Boom. So player score is just gonna be player score +1. Apparently I can be super fancy boy about it, and instead of writing it like this, I can write player score plus equal to 1, which basically means the same thing, but I find this a lot easier to read and understand, so I'm just gonna stick with this notation right now. So again, we had two screens there. We had two little fields there, player score and the text. So this is calculating the score, and then we need to update it onto the text itself. So like, as you can see up here, we have the score and we have the text. So the score text is equal to player score. Easy peasy. And then boom. Cannot implicitly convert int to unity engine.ui.text. So basically what's it doing is it's reading this as a string. A string is text. Even though technically it is a number, it's reading this as text. And this is a number because we defined it as an integer. So it's like, brother, how do you want me to like convert integer to text? So to do that, apparently the command is toString. I don't know why it works or how it works. All I know is that should fix the problem, right? No? Cannot implicitly convert string. What? Oh, I forgot to add text here. Boom. There we go. That should be good. There's some other fancy things the tutorial is teaching me that I can do. Like I can make it so that I can increase the score right from here by like adding an option to these three little dots. That's cute, but I don't need to do that, so I'm not gonna bother right now because I'm already a little overwhelmed learning all these things. Okay, so now comes some interesting things. If we zoom back in on our girl Hornet right now. So you know how in our game we have colliders, like she can actually collide with the pipe and boom, get all fucked up. Apparently you can have colliders with invisible things. Those can act as triggers. So basically imagine if there was a collider in between the pipe, and then as soon as Hornet passes through that collider, it'll trigger the score to go up. That's what we gotta do now. So we're gonna open the prefab for the pipe. It's store. Okay. So you can actually open the blueprint and then fuck around with it afterwards too. That makes sense. So now I can just add like another one, right? I can just add create empty and I can call it, I don't know. I'll call it score. No. I'll call it score trigger. There we go. Score trigger. And I will add a component to it. I'll add a collider, box 2D collider, boom. And then I'm trying to do these things without looking at the tutorial. What I'm doing is like I'm doing it and then playing the tutorial to see if I did it right. So now I can basically change the width of it and stuff. There we go, size. So I can increase the y-axis. Boom. Nice. And because this is a prefab, it'll just, you know, automatically get added to all the pipes that are spawning. Now let's add a script to it so that we can actually have the score go up when Hornet passes through here. So we can add, I don't know, script, new script. I'm gonna call this one score trigger script, just to keep it clean and easy. Create and add. Yep, add it to the same fucking place. Now we can open that bad boy up. There we go. Score trigger script. Now there's a built-in function for that, which the tutorial wants me to make it private. Again, I don't know why some things are private or public, but I'm not gonna question it. So this one is called onTrig. There we go, onTrig. Enter 2D. So it's like inbuilt function for this thing, which is I'm figuring out that this is a really good feature in this. Like if you want to do something, just Google it on what that function in Unity is called. Like, oh, I want the scoreboard to go up when this thing happens. What function do I use? And then you can probably find answers and then use that function. It's pretty intuitive with that considered in mind. Oh god, this part is way more complicated than I thought. Okay, wow. So basically You know, because we want to add the score every time the Hornet hits the trigger. I can't do that right now because add score doesn't exist here. We made that in a different thing. We made that in the logic script. This is where add score exists, right? The score text, I mean, or whatever, player score. So I can reference this one here right now, but apparently this won't work because this is the logic, right? But I can't just chuck in the logic script here. It doesn't fucking work. Oh my god, I gotta learn to use these things called tags. What the fuck? Well, I guess I've hit my first roadblock of understanding coding. This is going straight over my head right now. Holy fucking shit, this is weird. This is the code my man wrote, and this code is not working for me because GameObject does not contain a definition of getComponent. Why? I already don't understand this part of the programming setup. Like, why are we doing all of this? Like, what the fuck is going on? I thought I'd just copy paste his code and move on because I don't understand it, but now I can't even do that. Did they change getComponent? Oh, I gotta rewind it a little bit. I completely got lost in the sauce. I have no idea what's going on right now. Oh, I figured it out. Oh my god, that took me so fucking long. If I go back to... Where's pipe? Pipe! If I go to pipe and score trigger, I did not click that this is a trigger. Maybe that's what was fucking me up, right? Score trigger is a trigger. Nope, that still doesn't fucking help! Why is this one not working? No accessible extension mentioned getComponent. Accepting a first argument of type GameObject. Oh, was I using find GameObjects with tag, not object with tag? Don't you dare tell me that's it. Don't you fucking dare, game. Unity, bastard. Let me see, if I write logic here now. Logic. Oh my god! I spent so long! Oh my god! Why are there two things that are so identical? There we go. Now that works. Now that fucking works. Again, I still don't know the logical reasoning behind all of this, even with the tutorial, but I got it to fucking work. So if I save you here now you'll be able to like, so if I do add score, right? Basically what I'm trying to say is I don't know why this works, but for some reason I couldn't just drag and drop a script into here like I was doing all this time. So I had to write this line of code for this script to be able to talk to this script. Because I need this script, like the player text score and stuff, to trigger, or like to interact with the trigger thing. But now I can do that by using the public logic thing I made to use that function. So if I say logic dot, now I can go to add score. Yep, it fucking works. I fucking hate you. So this will run the add score code. Fuck. And an add score thing is right here. Obviously it's not perfect right now because it needs to reset every time we die. I will implement that once I implement game over and dying mechanics. But if I save all of this fucking bullshit right now, right? I save all of you. I go back. I click you fucking thing. Yeah, let's go to game now and let's play this bad boy. Let's see if our triggers are working. I'm so mad. Okay, let's see. Why? What? Why is that spawning like that? I mean, our triggers are working, but now that thing is spawning like... why are you like this? That makes no sense. Anyway, the score trigger is working right now, so that's pretty fucking good, I guess. Holy shit. Okay, the last main... I mean, there's other things I can do right now to future-proof my code for the game. Basically, I can fuck with the function of add score so that it always... Like, basically, instead of saying it to just add one every time, I can reference a function instead, and then I can basically have stuff like, oh, if you go through the special pipe, it'll add a different score or something. I'm not doing all that right now, alright? Fuck it. It works, and the only main thing I need right now is to add a fail state. Basically, if you hit the fucking pipe, the game gets over, and then you can click retry, and it'll reset the whole thing. That's what we're gonna work towards now. Fuck all this optimizing and being a better programmer bullshit. Okay, so we're doing this in the canvas again where we did the high score. So create empty, we'll call it game over screen. Boom. Apparently this is a parent, so we're nesting within a nest. So in here, I can create another text thing. Where's the UI legacy text? This is just for the screen that shows like game over, and I can fuck with it the same way I fucked with the UI. Let me do that. Okay, there we go. I have created a game over text, and I've created a button under it that says play again. Now on that button itself, I can fuck with it. This is basically on-click. On-click basically means what happens when you click this button. So I can use this to call a function that will restart the level, and we can make that function in our logic manager again, because this handles all the meta level logic stuff of the game. Cool. I can make it under the add score one, so I'll make it public code, and I will say, I'll call it restart game, not restart gay. Restart the game, please. Cool. Curly brackets. So how you do restarts is basically everything is a scene and you're looking for a scene. Basically the scene is the window before the game started. So that's what you're looking for. And to do that, you use a thing called the scene manager. Cool. And we can load up a scene. And because we only have one, we'll just get the active one. Get active scene. Nope, I fucked. There we go. Okay, so we've added this line of code. This should help us activate the event on the button. So we have an event. We can fuck around here. Oh, wait, it gotta compile every new thing. Right, forgot. Okay, cool. So now we can go to our event and we can drag the logic manager here. What? I have to click plus first. There we go. So we can add a our logic manager here, and it'll give us a list of all the functions we have in here. Whoa. Where's our restart game one we made? There it is. Restart game. That's what the function we want to do, basically, when you click the button. Oh wow, would you look at that? My game's over every time I play it. Wow. Just like real life. Man, my patience is running low now. Why is this pipe spawner all fucked up all of a sudden? It was working perfectly fine. Oh god, give me patience. So basically what's happening is my whole game over screen object, it's just, it exists. Nothing is telling it when to pop up. Right. So in order for me to do that, I have to disable it permanently and then only enable it when a state is hit. I guess I gotta write an if statement for that somewhere. Okay, so we're going back to the logic script to do all our meta level stuff. So we'll make a brand new function now. Let's make it below the restart game. I'll call it a public void. And I'll call this one game over. Boom. Let's make this bad boy. Okay, now we need to reference the actual game object that we made, the game over screen one. There we go. Now it shows up in our logic next to the player score and the score text. Now we can, I think, drag and drop you here. Yep. That makes sense. Okay, so now I'm making another collision code here after a bunch of mumbo jumbo and having some scripts talk to other scripts. Basically the same thing we did where we made a trigger or on trigger enter to up the score. Now we're doing it on collision because when you actually collide with the pipe, we want the game over. There we go. There we go. Well, not like that. I can still keep playing. I really want to fix those stupid pipes so bad. But hey, the play again button works. Look at that. Look. Boom. It reloads the scene, which I told it to do, so I don't know why I'm surprised, but I'm happy. Okay, so now apparently we're gonna use this thing called the boolean. We've been using floats and integers throughout this video, as I've told, and string as well for text. String is text, float can store decimal numbers, and integer is a whole number. This thing is called a boolean. It's another type of variable which can either be true or false. So we can use the boolean to check if Hornet is alive or not. So if we go back to our Hornet script, we have a bunch of shit here. We can make a new one. We'll call it public. Instead of a float, this time it's gonna be a bool. And I'll call it Hornet is alive. Set it to true, because it can only hold true or false. So basically when Hornet collides, then I can change Hornet is alive to false. And now I can basically add this condition to our already if statement. So you know how this if statement was checking if you press the spacebar and if like Hornet is going up or not? Well, we can also make it to check if Hornet is alive or not. By the way, this equal to true, apparently I don't even need to add that. It's just asking if this is, even if I don't add it, it'll just assume that this is what I'm saying. So instead of that, I can just say double like and, which means like there's two things it's checking for if Hornet is alive is equals to true. So if Hornet is alive, only then the spacebar will make her go up. I'm guessing that's what it'll do. Okay, my bad, I have to make sure it's double equal because I only want it to check, not assign. So now if I play the game and I kill Hornet, then boom, yeah, my spacebar stops working. Perfect. Now, if only the pipes would stop scrolling, that would be perfect. Okay, so basically now the game is kind of ready in its most minimal state possible. Because if I go to the game, I can technically speaking, at a very technical level, play the fucking game. Like, it counts my score, I can control Hornet, she feels god-awful to control, and if I hit a pipe, it's game over, and boom, then I can just play again. Beautiful. Now I can build this game now. Oh my god, wow, that's a bug I found. If I don't press the space bar immediately, the game just keeps going. Wow, isn't that fucking great? Basically the loophole being the game over only happens if I collide. It says nothing about if I just like go below the pipes. Oh, that's a problem for future me. Right now I really want to fix the fucking pipes. I have an idea. What if I just stretch the pipe up, right? Like just like fucking fuck it all up and just stretch it out upwards. Can I do that? Yeah, like that. Like if I just make the pipe bigger, right? How does that affect the game? Oh, there we go. Oh my god, I think that fixed it. I think that basically fixed the issue. Beautiful. Now the pipe gap is just too generous. Let's change that too. So if I move, if I select the move thing and I move the top pipe down a little bit, and I move the bottom pipe up a little bit, and then I go back to the pipes, and I, again, just like stretch, nope, there we go. Make them a little bigger again. Let's see if that helps. Maybe that's all I need to do. I don't want to do too much right now. There we go. Yeah, that makes it a lot shorter. There we go. Cool. Cool. Nice, dude. And there's enough offset. Oh my god, this is garbage to play. But there's enough up and down that there's a chance of failing. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Jesus. And then if I fuck up, then boom, game over. How nice. It's just that if you don't do anything, then the game will just continue to go. Now, this is where the tutorial technically ends, but Mark here saying that now that I have the fundamentals and foundations down of my floppy Skong, I can figure out how to add certain things on my own. Like title screen, sound effects, flapping, animation for Hornet, figuring out the bug that he literally mentions, the bug of like when she falls down, the game doesn't go over. None of that has a tutorial, so I'll come back to all of that tomorrow. I'm gonna take a little break now. But honestly, I need to call it quits right now, and there's a couple of reasons for that I'll get in a little bit. But for now though, before I get into my concluding thoughts, I do want to build out this project into like a clickable exe file. How the fuck do I do that? Finally, an easy thing. So all I gotta do is go to File, and I gotta go to Build Profiles, right? Yeah, for Windows. So let's build it. Clean build. For skip day. I don't fucking know, man. Just build the goddamn game. Flappy Skong. Alright, let's make a new folder for it. Floppy Skong. And let's select this folder to build. Yeah, save everything. Build everything. I want to execute the file from my desktop. Only then will I feel accomplished. But as it builds, I'll yap to you a little bit about it. So basically, I'm feeling a little burned out. I was following along fine, and everything was okay, even with a little bit of hiccups. I was understanding what I was doing until we got to the UI with score. Like scoring, like keeping tabs of score, and then the game over stuff, that completely threw me off. Like at that point, I had lost the plot. So what I want to do is, I want to, in my free spare time, go back to the tutorial, like pay more attention to it, figure out why the scorekeeping system works, because that's the most important part. I know pretty much why everything in this game works the way it does, except the scoring part and the game over part, and I want to figure that out on my own before I go on and add more features to the game, like sound effects or a title screen or whatever that I can figure out on my own. So I don't want to bite off too much, like more than I can chew, so I will call it quits for now. I'm also really tired. There we go! In my D drive, we have a folder called Floppy Skong, and there's all the files in it. And if I double click on Floppy Skong, it should execute it. Hell yeah, dude! Made with Unity! Floppy Skong! Shit, I fell. Oh no. Oh god, game over. Okay, where we go? There we go! Floppy Skong for the win! Hell yeah, brother. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me developing my very first video game of all time, which is a really shitty version of Flappy Bird with a Hornet in it, and it was an excuse for me to get my toes into game dev. Now, this game is missing many, normal features like sound effects, music, bug fixing, title screen, and yada yada yada. It doesn't even remember your high score. So, yeah, whatever. It's a game, and I made it, and it's my baby, god damn it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Primacon signing out.